this message is for all women like me and all those who love and support women like me. Somebody must have asked for a lot of clarity because the Lord has bombarded me with things to say today. And so I'm just letting you know this is going to be most likely a 2-part message, if not a 3-part message. If you are here for part 1, it will be in your best interest to stick around and view part 2 as well. All of it has to do with the same type of topic, but I guess different areas of the topic. The Lord has been speaking heavily concerning idolatry. Okay, so I think that we in this modern day and how we're taught, and sometimes when we hear the word idolatry, I think that we might have a false impression of what it looks like because we depend on church to teach us things about the Bible and Christianity, and a lot of times this is not taught. We're kind of ignorant about it. So when we think about idolatry, especially as it pertains to what is in the Old Testament, a lot of times the first thought is you want to pair idolatry with false god worship. And so you're thinking of idolatry as, there's some kind of deity that I'm putting in front of God, or, a thing that I'm actually worshiping before God or instead of God. And that's not it. That's a part of it, but that's not it in totality. Like most of the time, it doesn't look like that, especially in this day and age where it's like, I feel like a lot of Christians know better than to be worshiping a deity purposely alongside of Christ. Some don't, but many Christians who are serving God with their heart and their intentions can fall into idolatry by mistake. I've shared my story here. I've shared a lot of different pieces of my story, and I'm going to be talking a lot about things that I have learned by going through my different experiences with the Lord that helped me to understand where idolatry lied when it came to me. So some of this video will be about idolatry with business and finances. Some of this video will be about idolatry with relationships and marriage. Some of this video will be just, I'm just going to start by talking about what idolatry can look like in everyday life, and you not know it, that you're idolizing something. And, God has a problem with that. He does. Like, the thing about it is, when it comes to being aligned with the Lord, on your Christian walk, that is the utmost priority, is that you stay in alignment with whatever it is that He's willing for you. And the thing about that is, when you fall, when something becomes an idol in your heart, it stops you from being aligned with the Lord. So for the basis of understanding the blanket of what idolatry covers, it is anything. It can be a person, a place, or a thing in your real life, something that you're connected to, that you go to as a resolution. All of your help comes from the Lord. All of it. 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 Like, literally all of it. Okay? So, unless someone or something is sent to you from the Lord and He is using that as your help, when you lean on your own devices to help you, what you feel like will help you, and the Lord hasn't directed you to that, you're putting that in His place. And a lot of us don't realize it. I think that not only in this day and time, but our culture, especially, our focus on independence, our focus on grinding, our focus on elevating success, creating a picture of what is desirable, we tend to put the Lord to the backside of our own decisions, our own wants, our own desires, our own pleasures, our own timelines. And that's an error. We don't have a real picture of how dependent we are called to be on Him. A lot of people have God first in their bio and stuff online, and God be dead last in real life, in the real picture of how they decide to do things and how they move. Even if He's not last, He's not first. When it's like people put God first because they know it. It's the head knowledge. They know that the Lord is supposed to be in the head, leading this thing. They know He's supposed to be first, but either they don't know what that actually looks like, or they don't realize it looks like allowing Him to make every decision and living completely dependent upon Him and what He directs you to do, what He commands, what His word says, all of it. But that message does not come out enough, not even in church. not even in your family. The message does not come out enough to where we actually believe that. And when you see a Christian doing that, you automatically feel like they're doing too much. That it does not require all of that to stay in alignment with the Lord. And that's a lie. That is, I'm sure, just exactly where the enemy would want you to live, where he would want you to feel. You know, we talk about principalities and powers over nations and over cultures and over areas and things like that. It's a mindset. Think of the word principle. It's what creates a mindset. And one of the principalities that I know, again, have to do with the way that Americans think. I'm specifically talking about Americans because that's my experience. Money, success, image, grinding, independence. The principle of depending on the Lord for everything is almost non-existent. So of course the enemy is behind that. And when he can set a people up to believe a thing, when there are people who have the wisdom of the Lord that's not doing that thing, it makes them look crazy. It makes them look radical. It makes them look abnormal and undesirable. You don't have the desire to look that way because it's strange compared to society. It's deception. So back to idolatry. Where your mind goes first in your time of need, in your time of stress, and when you're trying to find peace, when you're trying to find health, when you're trying to find help, when you're trying to find love, when you're trying to figure out who you're trying to find identity, you're trying to find a sense of belonging. It just made me think of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. If I can find an image, I'll put it here for you to just look at. Those things that a human needs at a basic level, even to an advanced level, that's everything, y'all. That can give us a sense of fulfillment. And when we look outside of the Lord for that, when we're supposed to look directly to him for it, it creates an idol. And the problem with that is whatever you have chosen to fill in those gaps becomes a way for the enemy to get in and monopolize on it. I'll just give you an example. One of our basic needs is a sense of belongingness and love. Love. If you don't have that, and if you don't look to God for it to fill that void in you up, you will look for something outside of God and it will become your answer to the problem. It is an idol. And in that, let's think of one thing that we might go to fulfill love, the sense of belonging or sense of love, a romantic relationship. There's a litany of ways that the enemy can use a romantic relationship to take you further away from God. The open door was your void. You filled the void in with something outside of God. That was your idol. And the enemy uses that idol to push you further away from God. I'm even thinking of like the basic need of shelter, which goes back to money. But can you think of all the different things that people have done, all the different compromises that people have made? Just potentially. Maybe you don't know none of these people, but you might. And you might be able to just take a guess. You might have heard stories about what people will do in order to fill the void of not having shelter. That is just a way, like, oh, I don't have shelter and I need shelter, so I'm going to focus on this. This is the idol. And that having that idol can cause you to do many things outside of the will of God, outside of the ways of God, influenced by the enemy to supply that need for you. So I think I went on a side street. Let me get back on my target here. When you are relying upon anything outside of God to fix a need of yours, to fix a problem that you have, it is called an idol. Even if it's just I don't hear God and I desire to be in connection with him and I would like to hear him. So I made church an idol. I feel like I hear the Lord when I go to church. My pastor, is Holy Spirit filled. So he says, he is saying the things that I need. I need that. I need the word from him. So church is now my idol, even though it is a part of the Lord. This is where things get sticky. It's like, oh, church isn't bad. No, it's not. But is church God? Is your pastor God? Is his words you listening to right now God? Just because God is using something to help you does not mean that that's what you turn to. God is a person that you are supposed to form a relationship with. This is also not taught enough in church or amongst families. Wherever you get your spiritual guidance from, it's usually not taught in this way. That you are supposed to build a relationship with somebody that you can trust to help you in your time of needs and to provide all of these things for you that you need. So though the Lord may send you to a thing, you know that you go to him first. You come to him first. You check with him about everything because he is the supply. These things are the resources to his source. When he is the source of everything, you don't have idols. You know where everything comes from. You don't have dependencies upon things. You don't have to depend on um certain things to fix your anxiety when you have the source of what's going to help you. You don't have to depend on, like, y'all, I mean, seriously, it can be something as small as a headache. Something that someone may think is very insignificant. But when you know Jesus as a healer, you go to him first. And you talk to someone you have a relationship with, and you go to him so he can show you and send you the way that you need to go. I can't tell you how many times I've been just having pain in my body, no matter, regardless of where it is. And I have called on Jesus and depended on him at his word, not just for him to heal it, but I consult with him of what should I do. So, like, speaking on the topic of like health and medicine and stuff like that, I'm never going to say like the Lord is going to miraculously do everything. There are times when he's going to send you to your solution for your problem. But the question is, do you even seek him for that? Do you even go to him to get the best advised means of solving your problems? When you are in a relationship with the Lord, that is what you do. You don't think you have the answers. And that's how dependent the Lord wants you to be on him. But people don't like that. People don't talk about that. Society doesn't accept that. Even people in the church think that that's doing too much, and they think that the Lord doesn't require that. Deception. All of it. And we don't like to do that. And we don't like to wait for him. And we don't feel like we can trust him. We don't believe him at his word. So, the idols in your heart are the things that you automatically go to resolve your issues when you need something that requires a solution. It can be money, it could be work, it could be another person, it could be a family member, it could be the Bible. The Lord is not there. It is a resource. Yes, it is from the Lord. But when you start to treat it like he is in there, you're out of order. Okay. Again, this is something I learned personally, part of my story. I said, depending on people who hear from God clearly, you can create idols that way because of your lack of relationship. Okay. Again, those are resources sent from the Lord, but they are not the Lord. Your own intellect can be an idol. Some of us depend on our thoughts and decision making instead of consulting the Lord about stuff, about our decisions. Your timelines can be an idol. Oh, I want this to happen by this time. So I'm putting my wants for my timeline in front of even trying to hear what God may be saying about it. Even the Lord may have even said something and you heard it. And nope, that's going to take too long. I'm going to put things in my own hands and make this happen this way. Your emotions is a huge idol. The opinions of others can be an idol. Again, you may have heard the Lord tell you something. You may have heard it. And someone else's opinion about it may have caused you to go a different way. You may have heard the Lord tell you something, and maybe not even another person's opinion, but your thought of how it will make you look, how you will be perceived from other people, you may have pushed that upon over what you heard the Lord say, give you instructions about something, and cause you to fold and go that way. You've made that thing an idol. You've made other people's perceptions of you an idol. You've made other people's acceptance of you an idol. You've made, again, emotions. Your own emotions. Some of us get mad at God, especially when he's not moving in the way, or again, that whole timeline thing, at the time we want. So we take things in our own hands. We get mad. This part of the Bible bothers me a lot. And I sat and thought about the Lord with it a lot of different times. If you know about John the Baptist, Jesus' cousin, who made the way for Jesus, which means that, his ministry was to tell everybody that Jesus was coming, to tell them to repent for their sins, for the kingdom of the Lord is at hand, and it set up people to be able to accept Jesus when he came. So those people who was following John the Baptist's ministry and believing that a Messiah was coming, they then followed Jesus when it was time for Jesus, because John the Baptist and Jesus were the same age. Their mothers was pregnant with both of them at the same time. But you may know that Jesus didn't actually get called to start performing his ministry, and that's another thing, because some people who are called to do things, have a calling in ministry and stuff, they make that an idol too, to where the Lord can't tell them what to do with it. But so Jesus knew who he was, like he knew it, but it wasn't until the Lord's appointed time that Jesus was supposed to step out in the front and start doing what he was called to do and leading people. So when it comes to John the Baptist, he understood that he needed to decrease so that Jesus can increase. That means, okay, when Jesus is called into his purpose, it's time. I can't do this anymore. Jesus is taking the reins and it's him. He's the focus. This ain't about me. But John the Baptist died in prison. He started doubting Jesus. Sent a message to ask, like, are you not who I thought you were? I spent a part of my life telling everybody about you, and now I'm stuck in prison. Like, are you not who you said you were? Because how am I in prison? How have you not delivered me from prison? Me, your cousin, the one who has done all this stuff for you and to make the way for you. How am I still in prison? And Jesus basically said, I am who you thought I was. And the person who is not offended by me is blessed. And that part always, so in that, this is what it has to do with this message. In that, it is, we can get so offended by the way that the Lord does things, especially his timelines for us. It's like, do we want his will or not? Do we say we just want what the Lord wants for us? And like, yeah, this is what submission is. It's, you don't have a battle of wills when you're submitted to the Lord's will. Yes, you have desires. Yes, you have flesh that needs to be calmed down. You have things that you want in the ways that you think that things are going to go. Even when the Lord may have you, lead you to believe that things are going to go a certain way, and then it doesn't. Then you have a choice. What do you do next? Do you become offended by what the Lord is doing and get mad at him and pretty much decide to abandon what you were doing with him? Abandon being submitted, abandon doing things his way, abandon what you heard him say to do things your way to satisfy what you want and what you feel like you need. Blessed is the person that is not offended by the Lord, and he will show you yourself. So just take a moment and think about if that was ever you. Have you ever been just tired of waiting on the Lord to do things however he was meaning to do it, and you jump ship? Back to John the Baptist though. The Lord sees what's in our hearts, right? The part I struggle with is the fact that he died in jail. And the Bible tells us what we need to know, but some things I have questions about. I have like some details are not there, because if all the details were there, every story of the Bible would probably be the whole Bible long. You can't have every single detail, but I just wonder if the reason why John the Baptist ended up dying in prison and not being let out, we're not saying that anything that he did do for the Lord was in vain, but I'm wondering if the reason why he died in prison was because he never cleaned his heart up about the Lord. Sometimes our delays are there because the Lord sees that our heart is still not ready for what we're asking him for. And we've taken offense to him about some things. Sorry y'all about this lighting situation, but this morning I heard something about the children of Israel, and I thought about this before. Just the fact that basically their wants, their desires, their timelines, what was in their heart is what kept them in the wilderness for so long. A lot of our delays are based on our non-surrender. We need both the belief in what the Lord says and our submission to the word of what he has told us. If he made a promise and it's like, well, you have to get through this stuff to get to this promise, you always have a choice. The thing that causes stagnancy is unbelief and disobedience. It's taking too long, so I don't believe it no more. It doesn't look like it's going to happen, so I don't believe it no more. I heard the Lord say something, but the idols of my heart are making me turn away from staying in alignment. So the things that he told me to do, even if he just told me to sit still and wait, I have a choice of whether I'm going to do that or not. He doesn't make me do it. And that disobedience can not only cause delay, non-movement, but it can also bring new problems that wouldn't have been there before, that weren't there before. But if you have a heart to stay real, to become realigned with the Lord, whatever problems you've caused through your disobedience, He's faithful to redeem. You know, the Lord is a redeemer. He knows how to make things that are bad good again. He knows how to make things that feel bad, that look bad, work out for His glory and the good of those who are called to His purpose. Romans 8:28 is my boo, because I've lived it.